I knew very well that none of my various names had come out of the Bible, nor Luann's either, but I didn't care. I was just plain in a bad mood. I put Turtle over my shoulder. What do you really expect her to do if you say the right name, Luann? Jump up and scream and kiss you like the people on those game shows? Don't be mad at me, Taylor. I'm just trying to help. She worries me. I'm not saying she's dumb, even though she's blonde. But it seems like she doesn't have too much personality. Sure she does, I said. She grabs onto things. That's her personality. Well, no offense, but that's not personality. Babies do that automatically. I haven't worked in a hospital or anything, but at least I know that much. Personality has to be something you learn. And reading off a list of every name known to humankind is going to teach her to have a personality? Taylor, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but all the magazines say that you have to play with children to develop their personality. So, I play with her. I bought her a book today. Okay, you play with her, I'm sorry. Luann ladled soup out of the big pot on the stove and brought bowls over to the tables. Her bowl held out 2 teaspoons of the red-colored broth. She was starving herself to lose the weight she gained with Dwayne Ray, which is mostly between her ears as far as I could see. This is Russian cabbage and beet soup, she announced. It's called borscht. It's the beets that turn it pink. You're supposed to put sour cream on top, but that just seemed like calories up the kazoo. I got out a lady's home journal. I can imagine her licking her index finger and paging through some magazine article called Toasty Winter Family Pleasers, trying to find something to do with all that cabbage I keep bringing home from Maddie's. I fished out a pink potato and mushed it up in Turtle's bowl. It's good, Luann. Nothing personal. I'm just in a crappy mood. Watch out, there's peas in there. A child's windpipe can be blocked by anything smaller than a golf ball. For Luann, life itself was a life-threatening enterprise. Nothing on earth was truly harmless, along with her clip file of Hispanic bank presidents, which she had started to let slide, now that Aunt Hell was talking divorce. She saved newspaper stories of every imaginable type of freak disaster. Unsuspecting diners in a restaurant, decapitated by a falling ceiling fan, babies falling headfirst into the beer cooler and drowned in melted ice while the family played frisbee, a housewife and mother of 7 stepping out of a wick and candle store, only to be shot through the heart by a misfired high-pressure nail gun at a construction site across the street. To Luann's way of thinking, this proved not only that ice chests and construction sites were dangerous, but also wicked candle stores and frisbees. I promised her that I wouldn't give Turtle anything smaller than a golf ball. I amused myself by thinking about the cabbage. Would you have to take into account the size of one leaf compressed into a golf ball shape? Or could you just consider the size of the entire cabbage and call the whole thing safe? Luann was fanning a mouthful that was still too hot to swallow. I could just hear what my Granny Logan would say if I tried to feed her Russian cabbage soup. She'd say we're all going to turn communists. Later that night, when the kids were in bed, I realized exactly what was bugging me. The idea of Luann reading magazines for child-raising tips and recipes and me coming home, grouchy after a hard day's work. We were like some family on a TV commercial with names like Myrtle and Fred. I could just hear us striking up a conversation about air fresheners. Luann came in wearing her bathrobe and a blue towel wrapped around her hair. She curled up on the sofa and started flipping through the book of names. Oh, geez, take this away from me before I start looking at the boys section. There's probably 50,000 names better than Dwayne Ray, and I don't even want to know about them. It's too late now. I might have a beer with me. I want to talk about something, and I don't want you to get offended. She took the beer and sat up like I'd given her an order, and I knew this wasn't going to work. Okay, shoot. The way she said it, you wouldn't think You would think I was toting a M16. Luann, I moved in here because I knew we'd get along. It's nice of you to make dinner for us all and to take care of Turtle sometimes. And I know you mean well, but you're acting like Blondie, because you're blonde. And Dagwood here. All we need is some ignorant little dog named Spot to fetch me my slippers. It's not like we're a family, for Christ's sakes. You got your own life to live, and I got mine. You don't have to do all this stuff for me, but I want to. But I don't want you to. It was like that. By the time we had worked through our third beer, a bag of deep-fried tortilla chips, a pack of individually wrapped pimiento cheese slices, and a can of sardines and mustard, Luann started crying. I remember saying something like, I never even had an old man. Why would I want to end up acting like one? It's the junk food, I kept thinking. On a diet like this, the bean curd kids would be speaking in tongues. All of a sudden, Luann went still, with both hands over her mouth. I thought she must be choking after a talk about golf balls, and right away thought of the Heimlich maneuver poster on the wall at Maddie's store. How often she fed people there. That's how often she fed people there. I was trying to remember if you were or weren't not supposed to slap the person on the back, but then Luann moved her hand from her mouth to her eyes, like two of the three No Evil Monkey brothers. Oh God, she said, I'm drunk. Luann, you've had 3 beers. That's all it takes. I never drink. I'm scared to death of what might happen. I was interested. This house was full of surprises, but it turned out to be nothing like the cat. Luann said that she was afraid it was just that she might lose control and will do something awful. Like what? I don't know. How do I know? Just something. I feel like the only reason I have any friends at all is because I'm always careful not to say something totally dumb. If I blow it just that one time, then that's it. Luann, honey, that's a weird theory of friendship. No, I mean it. For the longest time after Angel left, I kept thinking back to this time last August when his friend Manny and his wife Ramona came over and we all went out to the desert to look at the shooting stars. There was supposed to be a whole bunch of them. A shower, they were saying on the news. But we kept waiting and waiting in the meantime. We drank a bottle of Jose Cuervo Plum down to the worm. The next morning, Angel kept saying, Man, can you believe that meteor shower? What you don't even remember it. I honestly couldn't remember a thing besides looking for the star sapphire from Ramona's ring that I plucked out somewhere. It turned out she lost it way before. I found it at home in their dog dish. Can you believe it? I was trying to fit Angel into some pigeonhole or other in the part of my brain that contained what I knew about men. I like this new version of an Angel who would go out looking for shooting stars but hated what I saw of him the next morning, taunting Luann about something that had probably never had happened. Maybe it's pulling your leg, I said. Maybe there never was a meteor shower. Did you ask Ramona? No, I never thought of that. I just assumed. Well, why don't you call her up and ask? She and Mandy moved to San Diego. She wailed. You think they had moved for the sole purpose of keeping this information from Luann? Well, I'm sorry, she persisted. But that's not even really the point. It wasn't just that I missed something important. I kept on thinking that if I could miss a whole meteor shower, well, I'd probably done something else ridiculous. For all I know, I could have run naked through the desert singing Skip to My Lou. I shuddered. All those spiny pears and prickly whatsits. She stared mournfully into the empty bag of chips. And now it's Valentine's Day, she said. And everybody else in the whole wide world is home with their husbands smooching on the couch and watching TV. But not Luann, no sir. I ran off both my husband and the TV. I couldn't even think where to begin on this one. I thought of another one of Mama's hog sayings. Hogs go deaf at harvest time. It meant that people would only hear what they wanted to hear. Mama was raised on a hog farm. Luann looked abnormally flattened against the back of the sofa. I thought of her father, who she told me was killed when his tractor overturned. They found him pressed into a mud bank, and when they pulled him out, he left a perfect print. A daddy print, she called it, and she wanted to fill the hole with plaster of Paris to keep him. The way she'd done with her handprint in school for Mother's Day. I always wondered if that night we got drunk had something to do with why I lost him, she said. I was confused for a second, still thinking of her father. I thought you were glad we went on Hilda. I guess I was, but still, something went wrong. You're supposed to love the same person your whole life long until death do you part and all that. And if you don't, well, you gotta have screwed up somewhere. Luann, you read too many magazines. I went to the kitchen and checked the refrigerator for about the 15th time that night. It was still the same. Cabbages and peanut butter. I opened a cabinet and peered behind the cans of refried beans and tomato sauce. There was a bottle of blackstrap molasses, a box of Quickie hominy grits, and a can of pink salmon. I considered all of these things in various combinations and settled for another bag of tortilla chips. This is what happens to people without TVs, I thought. They die of junk food. When I came back to the living room, she was still depressed about on Hill. I'll tell you my theory about staying with one man your whole life long, I said. Do you know what a flower ball is? She perked up. A water ball? Flapper ball. It's that dewjub in a toilet tank that goes up and down when you flush it. It shuts the water off. Oh. So one time when I was working in this motel, one of the toilets leaked and I had to replace the flapper ball. Here's what it said on the package. I kept it till I knew it by heart. Please note, parts are included for all installation, but no installation requires all the parts. That's my kind of philosophy about men. I don't think there's an installation out there that could use all my parts. Luann covered her mouth to hide a laugh. I wondered who had ever told her laughing was a federal offense. I'm serious now. I'm talking mental capacity and everything, not just parts like what they cut out of a chicken, what they cut a chicken into. By this time she was laughing out loud. I tell you my most personal, darkest secret, and you laugh, I said, playing vexed. They can always use a breast or a thigh or a leg, but nobody wants the scroungy old neck bones. Don't forget the wings, I said. They always want to gobble up your wings right off the bat. I dumped the rest of the bag of chips into the bowl in the ottoman between us. I was actually thinking about going for the jar of peanut butter. Here, let me show you this Valentine's card I got from Mama, I said, digging through my purse until I found it. But Luann was already having such a fit of giggles I could as well just have shown her an electric bill. And she would have thought it was the funniest thing in recorded history. Oh, me? She said, letting the card fall in her lap. Her voice trailed down from all those high-pitched laughs like a prom queen floating down the gymnasium stairs. I could use me a good wretch around here, or better yet, one of them. What do you call them? The one that's shaped like a weenie? I had no idea what she meant. A caulking gun? An angle drill? A battery head cleaner? Come to think of it, just about every tool was shaped like either a weenie or a pistol, depending on your point of view. A Washington Mommy, I said? This set Luann off again. If there really had been a Loggins laughing, both of us would have been our way to the Sing Sing by now. Oh, Lordy, they ought to put that on Valentine's card, she said. I could just see me sending something like that to Mama. She'd have a cow right there on the kitchen floor.